So I bought the cheapest Apple CarPlay radio for my 2014 Silverado. I got it off Amazon or AliExpress. Wherever you want to get it from, it's basically the same thing. And I'm going to tell you guys if it's worth it or not. So to start off, my truck is a 2014, making this truck 11 years old now. And it's a little more outdated. You guys know that the screen is super small. We picked up an aftermarket radio in order to make this truck a little more modernized. You guys may be asking why I didn't pick up an OEM factory head unit and just put the modules inside and get them programmed. And I felt like it was a little bit too much money, and as well you had to spend a little more extra money, like a little adapter to make that wireless Apple CarPlay. But this head unit comes with the wireless Apple CarPlay, so there's no need to add any extra modules. All this wiring stuff and programming is more than I wanted to do, and this head unit was less than $200. So for an OEM style looking head unit for $200, I think you can't beat it. So let's get into the install, and you guys will see if this is actually worth your money, and we'll see over time how long this lasts. So yeah, let's get started. This right here is the radio I'm going to be using. This is the stereo that I got off Amazon. In order to make this work, I had to do a few modifications to it, and I also made it look a little bit different because I painted it. So yeah guys, I did end up painting my screen, and I used this paint right here. This is the one they gave me close to OEM look. I'm pretty sure someone could get one that looks way closer, but if you paint with this paint, you have to get a clear coat, because if you don't get a clear coat, the flake's gonna come out and it's just gonna go all over your interior, and you don't want that. So get a clear coat. You can go matte, you can go gloss if you want the bezel of the screen to look more glossy, but I decided to go with a semi-gloss, and it turned out pretty good. I'm sure matte would look pretty good as well, so I would recommend semi-gloss and matte paint. It doesn't match 100%, but in reality, when it's inside of the truck, you can't really tell that it's even painted, but it does give it that nice extra detail, and it goes a long way. I'm gonna leave also a few links down below if I can find this stereo, so you guys can cop one as well. Just keep in mind that I had to modify this one in order to make this one work. You might be asking, is it worth going through all that trouble to make this radio work if you have to do this modifications to it? And I say, if you like OEM looks, yes, because I originally wanted just to keep this and then like put a tablet right here, but I decided not to do that, because if we're gonna upgrade the sound system eventually, I might as well just get RCA cables and stuff like that, and instead of trying to buy some RCA cables and trying to tap into the original harness. But I think it is worth modifying it as well, because it looks original, it looks OEM, and it's a bigger screen than the OEM one. The OEM one is 8 inches, and then this one's gonna be 10 inches. It's gonna look really good. Gets rid of the CD player as well, and I don't know, I made it try to make it look like this a little bit. It's a little bit lighter color, but I'll show you guys in a second. It still looks pretty good. If it doesn't, you can always paint it again, but the original plastics on here have like a blue flake to it. It's not just flat. It's, I don't know if you guys can see, but basically the plastics are not just plain black. They have like a little metallic look to it, so I try to replicate it. I found the closest paint that I could find to it, and yeah, so let me show you guys real quick what it looks like. And there we go. That's what the screen looks like. You guys can see it has some buttons right here. It replicates the OEM look. Let me put the camera down real quick and I'm gonna pull it up. Yeah, look, check it out guys. This is the radio that I got, and I painted it. I don't know if you guys can tell like by the flake. I don't know if the camera picks it up, but yeah, that's the radio. And then I did have to sand this down with the Dremel just to make it wider, because these didn't fit. Also drilled this out a little bit too. The part that holds the AC controls in, I had to break most of them off. Ones will come right here on the side, another one on this side right here, and then the 2 ones on the top. And other than that, it fits right in. So you have to break out 4 tabs altogether, and then it will come with this harness. It comes with another harness. I think that's depending on what system you have, so like Bose and like just like the regular speakers. But yeah guys, let's install this radio. I feel like it's gonna turn out pretty good. And then this harness is also just plug and play, so it's gonna be quick and easy. Well, hopefully it's quick and easy. But yeah guys, let me know what you guys think on the radio. Leave it in the comments below, and yeah bro, let me know what you guys think. And check it out you guys, I ended up dropping these decals. If you guys want to go and cop one, it's going to be the first link in the bio. My brother's got one on his, and my pops also got one on his truck as well. Check it out. Look how good that looks. But yeah guys, if you guys want to go and cop one, it's going to be the first link in the bio. We're going to start off by popping the the hood. Why did I say trunk? So we're gonna be disconnecting the battery, because last time that I tried the radio, I blew a fuse on the truck. So this time we're gonna be doing things the right way, and we're not gonna just, you know, start plugging things in. So we're gonna disconnect this. Usually a rod comes right here, but I already have everything taken up because I mess with the electrical a lot, and I'm gonna just put it back once I'm done with most of it. So I'm gonna leave a link in the description if you guys wanna watch a video, because all we have to, oh shit. So we disconnected the battery. All we have to do now is remove the radio. In order to remove the radio, you have to remove the plastic trim that goes around here. All you have to do is pry it up with some pry tools. Don't recommend you guys to use anything that's not a pry tool. If you use like a flathead, you're gonna mark the plastic here, so don't use that. And then there's like 4 7mm bolts that go around here, one right here, one right here, and then 2 down there. Remove those, and then the radio is held in by clips, and all I have to do is pull it out. I'm gonna try and do this one-handed. I'm gonna show you. You can just remove it. Boom. So, and then there you go. We're gonna go ahead and unplug this thing right here. Oh shit. And then unplug this one down here for the AC controls. There's that one, and then the last one right here for the head unit. It's fairly easy. Oh shit. Well, there you go. And no, nothing got damaged. Everything's good. So good. Yeah, nothing got damaged. And then we have all these connectors, and then there's 2 7mm that hold in this. This is for the CD player. All you have to do is remove that and then unplug it, because we're not going to be using this anymore. We need the space for it. And then we're going to need to unplug these and this one right here too. So these two are need to unplug. So I ended up taking the CD player out. The wiring harness taps into these right here, so we're gonna need to unplug those real quick. So I got the wiring harness laid out so you guys can get an idea of what the wiring is gonna look like. And at the end, I'm gonna tape this all up so it's gonna look nice and good. It's not gonna be like any exposed cables like this. We're gonna wrap it up with some wiring harness tape. I'm gonna show you guys the back of this so you guys can get an understanding. Most of these aftermarket head units are pretty much the same. I kind of struggled in order to make everything work, because this thing right here, it is not helpful. The only thing that this does is give you of like a little how-to on how to navigate this thing for the most part. So it just tells you like what the features are. It doesn't really tell you how to connect it to your truck. So that's that. But I'm gonna explain to you guys where everything goes on the back of this, so you guys don't get too confused like I did originally. So if you have a Bose or non-Bose, there's 2 harnesses, so depending on what you have, it's gonna be different on this. But this is a non-Bose harness. You guys can tell this is not Bose. Yeah, just make sure that you know which harness. It comes with 2, so just make sure you pick the right one. And you'll know by the connection of your truck, it's gonna be different. So we're gonna start off by connecting this one right here. This one's the biggest wiring harness that comes out of all of them. And as you guys can see, I got the RCA cables on there, and then those down there. This was gonna power the head unit, so it's the biggest one with all of these colors on there. If you guys can see right here, the very bottom is a little bit different than the rest of the connector, and it's a little bit different on here. It's a little bit bigger than what the other ones are, so that's the way it's gonna go in. Well, you'll hear it click, but not this click. That's the button in the front. You hear it click, it just clicked in. And then for the RCA cables, believe it's this one right here. It clicked in. RCA cables go on this one right here. And then this, you're gonna plug in into here. You're gonna wire it up to here. Basically what this is doing is like for an amp, you can, run these out to an amp. But I think it's either this one or this one. I'm not sure. Anyways, when you connect it, before you plug put it inside the truck, you're gonna connect them to these right here. So if you don't plug those in, you're not gonna get any sound. And then this one right here is gonna be the antenna for the Bluetooth. It's 5-pin on both sides, so 10-pin total. Most of these head units look pretty much the same on the back, so it's like they use the same wiring. So there goes that one, and then there's these 2 other ones. The other ones on here is gonna be USB. These gonna go right here, and these are pretty hard, pretty easy not to mix up because they're totally different. So I got everything connected. We got the 2 USBs right here. Everything for the most part matches up with the pins, but it can get a little confusing if you don't have any instructions. But we have these connected. This is what they call a canvas. This connects to the speaker right here. I'm gonna plug that in just so you guys can hear it, and then I'm gonna unplug it because I'm not keeping that. And then navigation goes right here, and then we have one more that's gonna plug into the truck. It's this right here. So yeah, it's gonna plug in right there on the very top to this shit, and then this is gonna plug in the truck on one of the, I think it's one of the cables or one of the modules that's inside. But yeah, all we have to do now is basically plug it in, and yeah. I forgot to mention, this green wire is going to be the one for the, what's called the steering wheel controls. If you guys don't remember, I installed my steering wheel. When I installed my steering wheel, guys, I added this cable right here, and this is going to allow me to hopefully get the shift button and the volume button on the back of the steering wheel. So hopefully those work, and we're gonna try it out as soon as we do it, because that's what the feature that made me really want to get this radio too. I know other radios have it, but I really wanted it to work, so hopefully this works. So as you guys can see right here, we got the radio inside of the truck and we're ready to install this thing. I'm gonna go over a few things I forgot to mention: RCA cables, the CAN bus, what the CAN bus does. So one thing I forgot to mention about the CAN bus is that this allows you to keep your factory chimes. Anytime that your truck makes a noise from a warning light, anytime you left the keys inside of the ignition and left the door open, anything along the lines of that, you used to get a chime through your factory speakers. But now, since we're gonna be adding this aftermarket head unit, it's no longer going to be going through the factory speakers, but it's going to be going through this if you decide to connect this. I'm not going to connect this because it kind of sounds bad. I don't like the way it sounds. It does, you know, mimic the OEM sounds that it used to make, the factory chimes, but I don't like it because it's kind of laggy and it's not the best. But I'm going to show you guys what it sounds like so you guys can decide if you want to keep it or not. Next thing, we got to connect these RCA cables. You just got to match them up to which ones they go to. They're already labeled, so it's pretty easy. And if you're going to add a backup camera too, you might as well go ahead and do it. We're going to do that here in the future. I'm not sure when, but we will eventually add a backup camera on this truck. And right over here we have the cable for the steering wheel controls. This is going to allow us to go up and down on the volume and shuffle through the music as well, and these buttons will also work. And then this wire too is going to be for the factory radio antenna. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's going to be for the antenna on the truck. This is going to allow us to keep the radio stations. If you want to keep this, you can. If you don't want to, you know, you don't have to. But all you have to do is come up in here and unplug it from right there. It's fairly easy to unplug, and basically it's just going to go in this connector, and then it's going to go all the way to this one right here. So that's what's gonna give you the antenna. And then we have the factory navigation right here. If you wanted to add that GPS, you can. It's gonna go up in your dash. I'm sure you could put it right there, but since I'm not gonna be using the navigation that's on the stereo, I'm not gonna add it because I know I'm not gonna use it. So we're not gonna be adding that, but if you wanted to, just mount it up in a dash. You have to take off this plastic trim piece, or I'm sure you can mount it up here, but I think for the best connection and your best bet would to be mounting it under the plastic piece or the plastic trim that goes in front of the dash, and that'd be your best bet to get like the best accurate GPS location. But yeah, since I'm not gonna be installing that, we're not gonna put that. And then this black connector right here is actually gonna go on this black module that's on the very top of the truck, and it's gonna go to the gray connector. So we're gonna plug this one up to the gray connector right here, and then this black one is going to plug into this factory connector right here, the gray one, and then obviously the green is going to go to the green connector. And once everything is plugged up, once you have your steering wheel controls plugged in, I'm going to plug in the speakers so you guys can hear what the chime sounds like. We're going to test it out and see if the head unit works. Alright, so quick overview on everything. Everything is plugged in. So you guys can see we got the black connector right here on the black module on the very top. We got the gray connected to the black connector, and then the green obviously goes to the green. And then we also have the radio antenna plugged into the factory wiring. And then we have the steering wheel controls connected. We also have the CAN bus connected and the CAN bus speaker connected. So now that everything's connected, we're gonna go ahead and then turn on the truck and see if everything works. So I'm gonna go ahead and power on the truck, and I'm gonna show you guys these factory chimes and the radio as well. So it's loading up, it's booting up. Boom. So as you guys can see, we got the Apple CarPlay turned on and it looks really good. And then we also have these buttons right here that light up. You can change this to any color you want. You can put blue, red, green, any color you want you can change this to. But man, look at that Apple CarPlay. And then this is what the home screen looks like. To go to the, you know, Apple CarPlay, all you have to do is go to that one, or actually not this one. Go home and go to this one right here, and boom, you're at Apple CarPlay. Well, yeah, as you guys can see, we got everything connected, everything is working, and then now all we have to do is clean all this wiring up and make this thing look really good. Fully installed it, and I'm gonna show you guys that every feature works. Here's a sneak peek. Radio controls work and everything too. So as you guys can see, we just down the volume. We can you know, turn off this call. We can go to this right here. And yeah, all these radio controls on the steering wheel work on the head unit. So I'm very glad we were able to do this with a very simple install. And you know, now we have everything working in the truck, and this thing is looking out really good. So I'm gonna stop talking, I'm gonna clean up this wiring mess, and we're gonna fully install this thing, and I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like fully installed. And as you guys can tell, we got the Apple CarPlay pulled up and it's looking really good. We also have the stereo controls matching the AC controls, so that looks pretty cool. It looks OEM. And yeah man, let's get into the pros and cons about this radio. I'm gonna tell you every good thing about the radio and every bad thing. So the first pro in my opinion is gonna be that the radio looks OEM. It looks so close to OEM that if somebody was to tell me that this was factory, I would believe them. Not knowing anything about the truck, I would believe it and say, yeah, that thing looks like it's original. And that's one of my favorite parts about this thing, is that it looks like it came from the factory. And I'm so glad I didn't go with a Tesla screen or any other screen. In fact, this is one of the best looking screens for your truck. I personally like it. This thing looks really good. And the second pro about this is that the Apple CarPlay connects wirelessly, so that's already a pro in my opinion. But it also connects pretty fast to your phone. Within the first 10 seconds of you starting up the truck, it's gonna connect automatically, and it connects pretty fast. So that's one of my favorite things. As you guys can tell, my phone doesn't have anything connected to it and it's already plugged in. It looks really good. Now, since we have the Apple CarPlay, this is an Android head unit, and we can scroll down in here and it's like an Android already, but it has the Apple Play Store. You can download Netflix if you want. You can download any other apps as well, and you can watch YouTube. You can play Spotify music and any other app musics. You can download them and play it from here. And of course, you're gonna need a Wi-Fi connection. So if you have hotspot, you're gonna connect it to your phone, and then you can just play it on here instead of using your phone. Now, like I told you guys in the beginning, we adjusted the colors to match the AC controls, and I'm gonna show you guys exactly how to do that. And it's pretty simple. All you have to do is go to car settings, click on car settings, click display, and it's going to be illumination color. So click illumination color, and you can adjust the colors right here. You can change it to any color you want. I personally tried this one to match the AC controls, but didn't work. And this is the best colors that, you know, match the truck. It's going to be that right there. It's going to be 255 for the green, 170 for the blue, and that's what makes this colors match, and it looks really good. And of course, if you have a red truck and you have, you know, red AC controls and red theme going on inside your truck, you're gonna, you know, put red if you want, or you can change it to any color. You can make it pink, you can make it purple, you can put white, you can put any color you want. And that's one of my favorite things about the stereo, is that it's fully adjustable. And if you click right here, LED animation, it scrolls through all the colors on the radio controls, and it looks pretty cool. So if you have anything that's customized inside your truck, like star lights that change color, that would be a pretty cool feature to have, because it's gonna change as well. And one of my favorite features about the radio is that we were able to add the steering wheel controls to the truck. So I didn't originally have this on my truck, but we ended up wiring it up to this radio. And as you guys can see, I'm turning up the music, and as well as, you know, I can mute the music if I want to. It's already muted. I'm going to turn it up one and mute it with one button. So right there, mute, unmute, and we can also go to the Bluetooth if we need to connect our phone, and that's all done to the steering wheel. We can also shuffle through the music as well, and that's one of my favorite things that we were able to do on this truck. And of course, we were only able to do that because we added this aftermarket radio. And as you guys see right here, like I said, this is an Android style head unit, so we're able to adjust this theme if we wanted to. We have total of 29 themes that we can change this radio to, and all of these themes you can change it, and they all have some, you know, special features if you want. You can have another speedometer on here if you want to, or I mean odometer. I'm not sure how to say it, odometer, speedometer. You can have it on these two, I think. And yeah man, it's a pretty cool and neat feature that you can choose any of these themes. So a total of 29 themes, but I ended up going with this one because I like this one the most. And yeah man, that's one pretty cool feature that this radio has. And if some people are worried about keeping the aftermarket radio because you're gonna lose your factory settings, you can keep those settings simply by going in here, click, you know, check, and you can able to, you know, adjust your car settings that you originally had. You can keep them. You don't have to lose any of them. And I think that's one big feature that people, you know, look for in the radio, is that, you know, keeping features that their stock radio has, you're able to keep them, and that's one pretty cool feature as well. Now, one other thing I forgot to mention is that we added this dual climate AC controls, which this truck doesn't have dual climate, but it installs this digital, you know, little screen on here, and it looks pretty modern. You're able to change the AC controls, and it pops up a number right here, but you're also able to turn it on through here. And not only does it pop up there, you know, turn on the AC, the numbers also match up on there, which is pretty cool. I didn't think that was gonna appear, and I didn't expect that, but that's another thing that makes it look OEM, is that little pop-up right there telling you what the AC temperature is. And that's one pretty cool thing that I found, and I really like that. And I know there's a few more settings, but we're not going to get into it all. That's just the main things that I found that I like about the radio and that I just really found interesting about the radio. Now the other thing that we're going to go over is the cons of this radio. First con that we have on this radio is that you have to modify the AC controls. The AC controls have a small gap in between them because we had to, sand it down a little bit with the Dremel in order to make the AC controls go through. But in reality, you can't really tell that much unless I told you, look, there's a gap right there. And you guys can't see it from here, but I'm trying my best to show you that there's small gaps in the radio. It's not too noticeable, especially if you have a passenger. It's not noticeable at all. If I'm looking at it, it doesn't really disturb me. It looks, not too bad, but it's not, a slim fit for the AC controls. So that's one thing that's a con about this thing, is that you have to drill it right here, and you can tell. If I told you, you're gonna be able to tell that there's a gap right there. Now another con about the radio is that there's another gap somewhere else, is that the top and the sides fit pretty good. The only thing that doesn't fit is the very bottom. There's a small gap right here, and that's not too much of a big deal. It doesn't look that bad, but there is a gap right here. As you guys can tell, there's a gap right there, and if you wanted to, you could probably do some modification. Now a lot of people that get an aftermarket radio aren't wanting to do modifications to the truck or do modifications to bezels, so I understand if you don't want to get this radio, but that's one of the cons. And if you don't like to do modifications, you're not looking to do any extra work and just plug and play, I don't recommend you to get the radio. It is pretty cheap, but at the same time it has those cons. So would I recommend you to get this radio? If you're not willing to make some modifications to it, like the AC controls, I'm not gonna do anything right here. It doesn't bother me too much. I know some people don't want that. If this is not what you want, I wouldn't recommend you to get it. There's gonna be some small gaps, but in reality, you can't even tell. If someone was sitting right here, no one would be able to tell. If I told you there's a gap right there, you probably wouldn't even notice. So that's one thing about the radio I don't like, but overall, it's pretty good. Now I showed you guys that the radio controls do work, but the truth is that sometimes they're a little faulty, and I don't think it's due to the radio itself. I think it might be due to the canvas, because sometimes it works and sometimes they don't. But for the most part, they do work, and they work for most of the time. But sometimes I find that it doesn't work when I turn on the truck, and it doesn't continue to work unless I turn off and on the truck. And yet I don't think it has something to do with the radio. I think it has to do something with the canvas, because the radio controls go to the canvas and then that goes to the radio. So I don't think that it has to do something with the radio, because the radio works perfectly fine. The wiring is perfectly fine. It goes all the way to the canvas. Nothing is faulty with it. The only thing is that it doesn't work. It doesn't work sometimes, and I think it's because of the canvas. Now the last con for me is that the media cables did not work. They charge your phone. They do what they need to do, charge the phone, but I didn't find them working to pull out the media from my phone. Maybe it's a setting. I was going through the settings earlier and I found something that had USB related to it, so it might be because of that, but I'm not sure if that's why the media USB ports don't work. But I wasn't able to connect it to the glove box, because there's one that was supposed to go to the glove box media cable, and then it's gonna run up to the center console. The USB center console still work because they're plugged into the modules for the old factory unit, and they're still in there, so that's why the USBs in here work. But I was not able to connect the aftermarket radio to the center console USBs, which is not a big deal, because we still wanted it wirelessly, but it is a bummer for some people that wanted maybe to do that. So you're not able to connect it. At least I wasn't able to connect it. I might try later on and tell you guys if it works, but for right now the USBs did not work. They charge your phone and they do exactly just that, but they don't make the Apple CarPlay work. It tried to pull it up for me, but it would end up crashing, and I find that the only way that it works is through the Bluetooth, and wirelessly it works perfectly fine, but with the wired it did not work. So if you can get past the modification part, the USB is not working, the steering wheel controls acting up sometimes, and the media cables for the center console don't work, then I'm pretty sure this is one of the best radios to get. For me, I think I would still buy it because of that. I think if I knew what I knew now of the cons, I think I would still buy it, because I don't like aftermarket radios. I really didn't want to, and I wanted to go OEM originally, but I really did like the style of this head unit, and it turned out pretty good. And I'm still in love with it, even it has its faults. I'm still in love with the radio. It works perfectly fine. And then right here, go to Z-Links, or right here, click on the music, and it works perfectly fine. And I really do like this radio. It gives it a nice look, and I can't wait for the summer to come and, you know, just be listening to music whenever we have a sound system in here. And man, I still love this radio even though it has its cons. I feel like the pros outweigh the cons. And yeah, man, if I knew the cons before I got this radio, I think I still would have got it because it just looks so good. So I'm really happy I picked up this radio. And yeah, man, let me know what you guys think on this radio. So yeah, guys, overall I like it. It's definitely a huge upgrade compared to the factory radio. The factory one was pretty small and it wasn't even a real screen, and sometimes the Bluetooth would lag out. And will I end up keeping the radio? I guess we'll end up seeing, you know, how long this lasts. We'll put it to the test and see the durability of this thing, but I think it's gonna be pretty good for the most part. So we're gonna keep it for a little bit and see, maybe later on we switch it up down the road. And if we end up switching it down the road, it's probably gonna be for audio quality, maybe for, you know, sound system upgrade. So something along the lines of that. We'll probably end up switching it if we have to later on, but we'll definitely end up keeping this one for right now. I like it and it's pretty cheap, so I can't complain. And if we do end up switching to another one, hopefully it looks better than this one and fits better as well. So if we can find another one that looks way better than this one, that'd be pretty cool as well. And if you guys didn't know, we're doing a high country interior swap on my truck. We already swapped out the cluster, the steering wheel, the dash, the carpet, and we got a lot of other things to install as well. So if you're interested in any of those things, definitely stick around for those. So yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think on the radio. And yeah, man, I'm pretty happy with the end result. And let me know what you guys think down below. And I will update you guys in the future to see if the radio was pretty good later down in the future. But yeah, guys, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for making it to the very end if you made it this far. I know this video is pretty long, but I did want to make this video, you know, a little more informational than the other videos. So I try to cut it down a little bit, so, you know, hopefully made it work for you guys. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for 166 subscribers. I barely got to thank everybody for 100 subscribers, and we already jumped 166, which is pretty crazy. And link in the bio if you guys want to cop a decal. I'm gonna show you guys the decal one more time. So yeah, guys, if you guys want to go and cop one, it's gonna be the first link in the bio. I only have a limited amount of these, so if you guys want to go cop one and support, I would definitely appreciate it. And yeah, man, let me know what you guys think on my decals. Let me know what you guys think on the radio. Well, other than that, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and next video probably gonna be dyeing my seat belts or swapping on my seats, wiring on my seats, one of those two. So stay tuned for the next video. We got the videos coming. So yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for supporting. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.